So this is a review, so we won't spend a whole lot of time. Just a reminder, it's a right triangle if there's a 90-degree angle, right? So we can use Pythagorean theorem to solve for missing sides. At 15, 36 are the legs. Remember, the side that's across from the right angle is C. So I usually like to circle that or write C. The other two are interchangeable, A and B. Please, don't make me sad. Don't be like, oh, the one that's tilted is C. 36 is not C. 36 is not the hypotenuse. X is. So we're going to write down a squared plus b squared equals c squared, which is Pythagorean theorem. Leg squared plus leg squared equals a hypotenuse squared. And then just plug in what you got. So the legs are a and b. So 15 squared plus 36 squared is equal to, you could leave it as c or change it to x. I'm going to change it to x because that's what the side says that it is. And now 15 was one of the squares we talked about last week. Without using your calculator, please try. Guys, what's 15 times 15?
225.
225. Good. That's one you should have memorized. If you don't have it memorized yet, get it memorized, please. Now, 36 squared.
1,290.
Colby, what you got? Okay. 1,296. There is a squared button on your calculator. You'll see it. It says x squared. It's right below the square root. So if you want to not do 36 times 36, you can just do 36 squared. Okay, now we're going to add these up because they're like terms. You're just solving an equation. When we add these up, someone raise your hand, tell me what you get. Emma?
1,521.
You guys agree? Cool. And guys, how do we get rid of a square root? Oh, dang it. How do we get rid of a square? A square root. Good job, Ms. Brandt. You did it. Okay. That's what happens. So we need to take the square root of 1,521. It should be a nice, happy number. What is it?
39.
39. So the side length, the missing side length is 39. They're not going to all turn out perfectly like this. This is what we call a Pythagorean triple. 15, 36, 39. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Again, you can draw an arrow across from the right angle. 25 is c. The other two are a and b. Because the hypotenuse always has to be c. And so we're going to plug in what we know. Y squared plus 24 squared is equal to 25 squared. Mira, what's 24 squared?
576.
Good. Eventually, it would be great if you could memorize that one. Now, 25 squared, we probably should know. What's that one? 625. Now we're going to, this one's a little bit different. We're going to subtract 576 from both sides because we're just solving an equation. And so what are we going to get on the right side, guys? 49 is equal to, now y squared. Take the square root of both sides. What's the square root of 49?
7.
So missing side is 7. So the converse of Pythagorean theorem, if a squared plus b squared equals c squared works, then it's a right triangle. So the longest side has to be c. The other two sides are a and b. I've got 12, 35, and 37. Do not assume that they're a right triangle. We got to figure it out. We're going to test it. Longest side is c. So again, I write down a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Two smaller numbers are a and b, so I'm going to plug them in. 12 squared plus 35 squared. Question mark, because we don't know yet, equals maybe 37 squared. Oh, I forgot this squared. Okay. What's 12 squared?
144.
Bella, can you tell me 35 squared?
1,225.
And Southwick, what's 37 squared? 1369. Okay. What do we get on the left-hand side? Is it the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the last thing I should see. 1,369 equals 1,369. So is it a right triangle?
Yes.
Yes, because a squared plus b squared does equal to c squared. You don't have a picture. You should probably draw one. So draw your best nice little right triangle here. It was easy with the hypotenuse. It told you that it was the square root of 106. That's the number. It's just, you could get this as a decimal, but it'd be better to leave it as a square root, and you'll see why in a second. So we have, the right triangle has one leg that is 4 inches longer than the other. So could someone please raise your hand? Tell me, what should I label my side lengths to be? Catherine? Great. Yeah, because it's 4 inches longer. We're going to find the unknown lengths. We're going to have to solve for x. So we're going to write this out like we would any other Pythagorean theorem problem. But instead of, we're going to make sure we use parentheses for that x plus 4. So this is c. So I'm going to make sure I put in parentheses the square root of 106 squared. So this will be nice because the square root of 106 squared is just going to be 106 because those are going to cancel out. That's why we want to leave it as a square root. And then the other sides are x and x plus 4. So x squared plus, make sure you put this in parentheses, please. X plus 4 squared. This is where we're going to use our algebra knowledge. That x plus 4 squared, you're going to have to double distribute out. So this is, like you did this whenever we did taking something in vertex form, moving it to standard form. That's the type of thing you're doing here. So x plus 4 times another one, x plus 4, equals, we already said that these two cancel out. So you're just left with 106, which is great. So go ahead and FOIL out, multiply each to each for those parentheses. It'll be plus 8x. You want to combine your like terms. So, Luke, what like terms do I have?
You have x squared.
Okay.
And if you want to bring the positive 16.
Okay. So I'll do that in a second. So I'm going to combine like terms first, and then we'll do what Luke said, and we're going to move the 106 over. Why do you guys think, you have a quadratic here, why do you think that maybe I want to move the 106 to the other side? Pierre? Yep. See, it didn't leave you for very long. You're going to solve the quadratic. So 2x squared plus 8x now minus 90 is equal to 0. Now, do you have GCF?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would just divide everything by 0. Since it's an equation, you can just divide it out.
Divide by 0?
Oh, it's divide by 2. That's what I meant to say. Divide everything by 2, so we get a nicer equation of x squared plus 4x minus 45 is equal to 0. Now that should be a nice one to solve. What method should we use? Factoring. Solve by factoring, please. Oh, do you have a question?
No, I didn't.
Okay, how does it factor first?
From positive 9 and negative 5.
So we get two answers of negative 9 and 5. So Elizabeth, which one makes sense?
Positive 5.
Positive 5. And Colby, how are we going to get, because the other one is negative, right? You can't have a negative side length. Colby, how do we get the other side? Right. So if this one is 5, then that one has to be 9.